Inmate number 2024304558. That's what I was. For the last 6 days, you guys, I was in jail. Yes. My ex-husband sent me there. It was by his request. I have not committed any crimes, but I went to jail. Yep, I did. So I want to share that journey with you. I am feeling so very blessed. I just want to say that out front here. I went to jail, not ever breaking any laws. I have went to jail without ever doing anything wrong in my life, my whole entire life. I have gotten good grades in school. I never did drugs. I don't smoke. I don't even have tattoos. I am a good Christian woman, a great mom. I was a great wife. And, you know, it was kind of shocking, you know, when the judge ordered for me to go to jail. But with that said, I want to share the journey with you. I want to share the conditions with you. I want to share what I had to go through. I want to share the outcome of what I thought about going to jail. I want to share with you my fear of jail. I want to share with you the torment I went through. And I want to share with you the experience overall with you. So with that said, I want to get this video started. All right. I went to jail, okay? This was based on a court order that my ex-spouse is requesting, and he said as punishment, he wants me to go to jail. And so the judge ruled in his favor because I don't have an attorney, and he does. And so everything he has asked for in our divorce, he has gotten. And when my ex-husband first filed for divorce, I told him, if this is what you want, if this is really what you want, I am going to let you lead our family down the road of divorce. I am a Christian. I'm a firm believer that the husband in the family is supposed to be the leader of that family. I believe that he is the one who should be seeking God in his relationship and his family decisions that he makes. And I firmly believe that that was not upheld in my marriage. And I believe that that's why I'm divorced today, is because I was not married to a Christian man. And so because I was not married to a Christian man, I have not fought my divorce one bit. I have followed our settlement agreement that we had. I have agreed that that is what is in our child's best interest. And my ex-spouse has decided that he just wants to do what he wants to do. He wants to be in full control, and he is taking all of my motherly rights away from me. He is taking all of my support away from me financially. He has taken away my parenting time and my parenting rights with my child. And there is zero co-parenting on his part. This is what I had to go through during my marriage. I'm just going to put it out there. He has always been this way. This is not a change. I have had to go through this for the last 10 years of my marriage, and now 3 years post-divorce. And it has been a roller coaster of a ride. There was never any physical abuse in our marriage. There has always been only emotional abuse, where I am allowing my ex-spouse to lead, and the abuse is towards me and me alone. And I knew 3 weeks after we were married, my husband didn't love me. And boy, has he shown me he doesn't love me. And boy, has he shown me he doesn't love our family. And boy, has he shown me he does not love God. And so through my journey, and even through going to jail, I have had a lot of negative actions towards me from my ex-spouse, trying to bring me down, take me out. And, you know, it's a spiritual warfare in my family, in my marriage, in my divorce. It's been a spiritual battle. So I'm going to tell you, I have had my kids all separated. They're no longer on normal schedules together. The kids have been kicked out of their home. And we now have had mother going to jail. And so, you know, the effects of all these decisions that I have allowed my ex-spouse to make, that has impacted me. And as a mom and as a leader of the family now, as a single mom and a Christian, I am making choices to take the high road. I'm making choices to stand up for what's right, what's biblical, what God has commanded me to be and do as a mom. And moving forward in my life, I just want to share every part of my journey with you, and that is including going to jail for no reason. So I want to share this with you. All right, so the judge ordered me to go to jail, and so I'm going to jail. And I went to jail for 6 days, and the judge has released me and set a new court date. So what is going on is I have to amend my taxes from last year, or I'll probably be going to jail again. And I'm being coerced, harassed, abused through the legal system. And, you know, I have no voice. I have no voice as a mother. I have no voice as an ex-wife. I have no voice as a citizen of the United States of America. My constitutional rights have been infringed upon. You know, God has been with me through the whole thing. He is giving me more strength and more hope and more love than I could even imagine. And even though it's been a struggle and I'm losing time and money with my kid, this is all happening for a reason. And I can tell you through my story of sharing my jail time with you, I can start to see what God's doing in my life and all the pieces that are being moved. And I'm super excited about what He's doing for me. Okay, so I went to jail. I didn't know what to expect. I walk out of court, and the police didn't really read me my Miranda rights, but now I'm learning it's because I wasn't really arrested. I was put into custody. This does not go on my report. I am not a criminal. They just put me in jail. And so, yes, that can happen. You can go to jail for no reason at all. Just so y'all know, it can happen. So, yeah, I went to jail for the last 6 days. The police came and put me in custody, and they did not read my Miranda rights, like I said. As soon as he arrested me, he put my hands in the handcuffs behind my back. I told him about my broken wrist, elbow, and shoulder. The police officer was so nice. He was so gentle. He went slow walking out to the car. It was kind of probably about a half a mile walk, and we were really, really slow getting into the car from the courthouse. And I said, wait a minute, you're walking too fast. I got bad knees. I told him about my bad knees. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. I just thought, you know, I didn't know. And so he was very, very nice. He was on his speaker in the car when I got in the car, and he's like, this girl shouldn't be here, but I'm taking her in. And so we get there, and He goes to check me in to the recording office at the detention center. He tells the recorder, he said, we don't get very many of these, but here's one. It's very odd, and this girl doesn't belong here. I had told the police officer I have never done anything wrong. And he's looking at this report, and he keeps looking at it 2 or 3 times, and he's just like, I can't believe this is happening. This judge has ordered this girl to go to jail for no reason. And so, you know, watching the booking and how everything worked out, I'm really taking note of everything. I am going to say this up front too. There was a lot of corruption in the county I live in the conditions of this jail. It is dirty. It is rusty. There is a lot of things happening in that jail, that detention center, that is inhumane. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit here. So when I get in, I check in. They did not take my fingerprints because it's not criminal. They just made me be handcuffed the whole entire time as I was checking in. And I just sat there. I had a shirt on that said Blessed Mama that I wore. And he just kept looking at the papers, and he was just like, this is stupid. You know, this girl's going to jail for no reason. And he didn't talk to me, and I didn't know what was going on. I've never been in trouble before. You guys, I've never gotten a speeding ticket. So this is how good of a girl I am. I was told in court that the judge said, I don't care about your faith, and I don't care that you're a Christian or that you are a good girl or you've never been in trouble before. I'm sending you to jail. So this is my experience, and I just want to share it with you guys and be completely honest. I told you in my other videos, I'm going to be completely honest with what I have to go through. Every little journey. This is part of my journey. So here we go. I get booked in, okay? And like I said, they take your weight, your height. They take a picture of you. They are making a bracelet for you as you're getting booked in. And they put me through a scanner. And I was thinking it was a weight scale. And she's, I guess, scanning for any weapons or anything inside my body. And so, oh, yep, you're good. And so I got in there. And then they put me in like a doctor's office waiting room area full of people. And the people in there are a lot of bad people. I'm telling you, I was sitting there. I didn't know what to expect. I'm just kind of watching the whole procedure and everything that happens because I have no idea what's going to happen to me. And so I'm in there, and he hands the paper to the booking. The recording person walks me into the booking area. Everything's steel doors, everything closed up. It's like a cave in there. It's dark, and you can't really see any daylight whatsoever. No windows. And so they're booking me in with this room full of people, and there is a TV, there's a water jug full of water, and then there's some phones hanging on the wall, and everybody's up and down, moving around and sitting in chairs. They've been there for hours upon end. I did not know how long this was going to take. It did take me 8 hours to be booked, and so I sat there for a couple of hours, and they brought dinner, and dinner was a sack lunch with peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a ham sandwich. It was nasty. Had some chips and 2 cookies. Nasty. And everything was stale, and it was really bad food, and the worst sandwiches I've ever had. And I had to ask for a cup because they were out of cups. And so we all sat down and had our lunch, our dinner, and we just sat in our chairs and ate our sack lunch. And so then we were called up for our booking, and they gave us our bracelet that they made for us. It had an identification number, and once we had that identification number that I gave at the beginning of this video, it allowed us to make our phone calls, and it was all free. So it took me about an hour sitting there before I realized what was happening. So now I've been there 3 hours, and so I make my phone calls to my family and let them know what's going on. I ask a lot of questions, and the other inmates there that are being booked in also with me, they are kind of giving me information because a lot of them have been there several times. They know the routine, they know what to expect, and I had never been there before. And they're asking everybody, what are you here for? What are you here for? And then they are like, you shouldn't be here. Like, all the inmates were like, you shouldn't be here. This is stupid. And then I'm sitting next to a guy, and another guy walks up, hey man, what are you in here for? And he goes, murder. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting right next to this guy. And then the other guy on the other side of me, he was in for sex with a minor. I'm like, oh, great. So I am stuck in between these two men in this waiting room. I felt very uncomfortable. I just looked forward. I was watching TV. We watched Catwoman. And then they had a couple incidences where they had to evacuate the waiting room because of disturbance with a man who was very angry. And so we had to go into a cell, and everybody was separated between girls and boys, and it was mostly boys, and then the girls, there was 3 or 4 of us, and so we all got stuck in a cell together. They lock us up to keep us all safe, and then they would put us back in the waiting room again. There was a bathroom that I could use. It was open, door cell, and it was next to the waiting room. There was men watching as we went to the bathroom, and there's no privacy. It's a metal toilet with a metal sink, and there was no toilet paper. And then they call me back to change into my uniform that they're going to give me. I had to strip down naked in front of a woman guard, and I had to bend over, and I had to cough, and I didn't do it right. I wasn't coughing hard enough, and I had to do it twice, and it was very humiliating. And so I got into my uniform that they gave me, and I was then put into a cell that I had to sit in for another 3 hours or so. And I had one cellmate with me, and she was a single mom with a 1-year-old. And then I checked in with the nurse, and she took my prescriptions and that I was taking for my knee pain, asked about my medical condition, allergies, asked if I was on any meds. I said no. She asked if I was on any drugs. I said no. She asked about my weight and my height, and she took all that down, all my vitals, and they just did an overall mental health assessment right then and there at the doctor's office. And she said, you shouldn't be here. You said, why are you here? You know, everybody's asking questions. And put me back in the cell with the single mom. And me and her sat there, and we talked about hope, and we talked about faith, and we talked about me being a Christian. And she's just like, I don't understand why you're here. And she was in for a traffic violation, and she was a single mom with a 1-year-old, and she was a little upset because her 1-year-old was without her, and he's on diapers and formula. And so luckily she wasn't breastfeeding, and so she's just kind of devastated, but she has been there before, so she knew what to expect, and so she gave me a lot of information. I'm so thankful for her. And then they took us upstairs, 4 o'clock in the morning. We made it to the floor, and they take us up between a lot of metal doors, a lot of locks, a lot of loud noises. It echoed. It was 4 a.m. And they put us in a room. All the cells, there was 8 cells in my pod. They were all locked and closed because it was nighttime. And they gave us a little boat bed and a really, really thin mattress. And when they first brought us into the room, they kicked the bed of one of the women and woke her up and scooted her over to make room for me in my bed. 4 o'clock in the morning. And she's all upset and tossing and turning and upset. And so we lay down, we get some sleep for about an hour. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't know what to expect. I'm in this room. There is a bright light right on my head, shining in my face. I try to cover up. I'm exhausted from just sitting in that waiting room for 8 hours in that cell. And I was already hurting on my back because in the cell that we had to sit in downstairs for 3 or 4 hours, it was a concrete cell. So we just sat on a cold concrete slab. We had our metal toilet and we had our metal sink. And we did have toilet paper in our cell, so that was good. And I did use the restroom there once. But once we were upstairs, there was 2 toilets and a sink that we could use open in the big area that we were laying in. And then, like I said, 8 cells that were all locked up. And so we got checked in on every hour. On the hour, a guard would come in, and the night I was booked, it was a female guard. So then we wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock. They always served breakfast. It was nasty. It was grits. I don't like grits. And cornbread. And the cornbread was very, very hard. And it was horrible, you guys. Horrible food, once again. And it was cold, and it was nasty. And so we had our breakfast, and I started to see everybody else started to go back to bed after breakfast, and I did too because I was exhausted. We all slept, and this was pretty much the normal routine every day. Wake up for breakfast at 6 o'clock, but because we're checked in and everything's loud and echoey and the metal doors opening and shutting all the time, everybody's awake every hour. So the routine was get up for breakfast, 6 a.m., and then we would go to sleep until like 9:30 in the morning. And then everybody started to get up and get around, and 10:30 was lunch already. So every time everybody started getting up and getting around, it didn't take much. There was hardly anybody taking showers there. The showers were concrete, 1 shower curtain, and it stunk really bad, and the concrete was rusted. There is space between some of the floor and the concrete, and they're moldy, and it was really dirty in there. And then we had our lunch, which was again something mushy. I can't remember what it was. The first lunch I had there, it was nasty, whatever it was. I think it was like a soup of some kind, I want to say, but it was gross, whatever it was. And then we had refried beans. I remember that, and it was cold, nasty. And then again, another cornbread, and it was hard. So it was not all that great food, I'm going to tell you. It was worse than high school food. And so we started watching some TV, and of course we had to watch the Bounce channel, the BET channel, and 365 Black all day channel most of the time I was there. And These are not channels that I normally watch, but we ended up watching those. I was trying to be nice and kind to everybody there. They were asking me, why am I there? I would tell them, and then there was a couple of them that didn't like me, and they didn't want me being there because you didn't do anything wrong, you shouldn't be here, and they were not very nice to me because they are actual criminals, and they don't like people like me who are there for no reason. And they don't like people like me who say I am a Christian and I haven't done anything wrong. So I realized early on that I was a target. I was a target. And so I was trying to be very nice, but God is good. He's getting me through this. And here's an example of how God has worked in my time in jail. So that lady that the guard kicked at 4 o'clock in the morning to move her over and wake her up in the middle of her sleep, she was talking to me, and we're talking about where we grew up and why we're there, and she was telling me her story, and I'm like, hey, you're talking about the same area I grew up in. And I'm like, I graduated from that school. And she goes, oh, what year? And I told her the year I graduated, and she goes, me too. And I said, what's your name? And she told me her name, and she was my best friend in junior high. She was a good friend that I had. I didn't recognize her. And so she came up and gave me a hug, and oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. And we were just reminiscing the whole rest of the time on that Friday. And then we got to just talk all day Friday, and we told each other stories, and we got to catch up. It's been 25 years since we've been friends, and it was amazing, you guys. And then she started to realize, and she said, I think you're here for me because you're giving me hope, and your aura about you and your spirit about you is just amazing, and you are still praising God through whatever you're going through. And Friday night, we had a Bible study in our pod with all the women, and I got to be a part of it. And I got to share God's love and my opinion about what we were reading and be a witness. And so I was so super excited to be able to share my faith in jail. And, whatever the circumstances you're in, even if you're in jail, you can still share your faith. And it doesn't change who you are. Whatever false allegations, harassment, lies that someone makes up about you, and no matter what rights they take away from you, you can still do what's right. God has commanded us to finish this race strong, you guys. There is a strong delusion. There are going to be men out there who are going to be hateful to their Christian wives. There is no stopping it. And there are going to be people who are greedy and all they want is money. And there are going to be people who think that they're better than you out there, and they're going to kick you out of your home, and they're going to take your child from you, even though you're a good mom, and even though you're a Christian, and even though you're standing up for what's right, and even though you're doing what God has commanded you to do, there's going to be people who hate you. There's going to be people who are against you. So I got to be a part of this Bible study. It was so refreshing. It made me feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Dinner was a peanut butter jelly sandwich and bologna sandwich again with chips and cookies. But this time it wasn't stale and didn't taste all that great, but it wasn't stale, so it was better. And then we go to bed, everything's locked up again, check every hour. I'm starting to learn the routine of the guards. This time we had a male guard Friday night. That was very odd. And I started to realize that we had a lot of male guards that would come in, and when they entered the room full of women, they would say male in the area. But they're seeing us as we are naked, taking showers, or sitting on the toilet, because everything's open and there's no privacy. That is something, again, you get kind of used to being in jail, is using the restroom in front of everybody, taking showers in front of everybody. You see a lot of naked bodies. And I was on a woman's floor, so it was a lot of women, but we had men guards. Come to find out, there was a lot of rape that was going on between the guards and the inmates. Not too long ago, there was a whole case about it on the news. And so it made me very scared. I felt violated. I felt harassed. I felt very uncomfortable with the conditions of the jail cell itself, and with the guards being men on a woman's floor. Did not like that one bit. So I did not have any issues though. And so Saturday morning, woke up for breakfast, 6 a.m., went back to sleep until 10 o'clock. And there are a lot of people who sleep all day long in there, a lot of druggies, and they do nothing but sleep and eat. And I was getting to the point where I was up all the time after that. I could not sleep anymore. And so got caught up on my sleep. And we were watching TV after breakfast, and a woman in her cell flushed the toilet. It overflowed the other woman's toilet in the other cell next to her, and poop and urine, feces all over the floor, all over by my bed. It started to run and flood our pod. And so we had to move everybody over, and then we had to deal with this. It was the weekend, and so there was no maintenance, and it took hours for them to get us 3 mops. So we're sitting in poop, and it was disgusting. And we got some mops, and 3 of us inmates started cleaning up. The rest of the inmates are all mad, yelling about how disgusting this is and how inhumane it is, and about the conditions of the cell and how they're sick and tired of this, and they're not cleaning up someone else's poop. And they're yelling and calling names to the inmate who flushed the toilet, who overflowed the toilet. And then they're all fighting, calling each other names. Every word is a cuss word. I'm here, the F word, the S word, the D word, all the words you can think of in the cuss word dictionary book. And I'm not used to that. I am not used to that as a Christian. And I felt so uncomfortable with the name calling and the abuse. Instead of just getting up, grabbing a mop and helping like I did, let's just clean up the mess, you guys. Let's just clean it up, and let's, do our thing. And so we did that, and then we had to just kind of stay away from that area where my bed was at and all that for a couple hours. And we had to wait like that until Sunday and Monday came around. And then on Monday morning, first thing Monday morning, maintenance comes in, and they started to clean that up. But they ended up having to remove us from the pod, lock everybody in their cells, remove the ones who are in the middle of the pod, and put us in a small little cell where we were all stuck together for a couple hours while they did the cleaning up of the poop on the floor. And so we got what we could with the mops, but it was still kind of there. It was kind of gross. And so the conditions in the cell are not all that great. Everything echoes, everything's metal or cement, and it's cold to sit on the toilet. And my friend had left Saturday, and so Sunday I was by myself. I missed church because you have to sign up a week in advance, and so I didn't have that. My parents have tried to get me out several times, and I could not get my caseworker in to see me on Monday. So it took until Tuesday before I got to talk to the caseworker, and we were trying to get me a public defender. I had to fill out an application for public defender. I had a lot of complaints on Tuesday about us still not getting new uniforms. I had gone through my 3 uniforms that they gave me already, and I started to smell really bad. And the other girls that were there, who have been there for months on end, said, we haven't had new clothes for 6 days. And so Wednesday, they finally brought us some clothes. And Wednesday is when the judge let me out. When they let me out, I was just let go. I wasn't able to call anybody to tell them where I was, and my jail is downtown Kansas City, and I was released at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. So I was there 6 nights from Thursday to Wednesday. And that is my story of my jail time. The food did get a little bit better starting on Monday, I would say. And I got kind of used to being naked in front of everybody. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't all that bad. I did sit there with my Bible quite a bit. I did make some friends. I did have a lot of time to sit and think about my future and how I'm going to uphold myself as a Christian mom, and how I'm going to try to continue to be the best mom ever for my children, how I'm going to try to work with what I've got, and how I'm going to move forward in my life and just be positive. And, you know, I'm going to start sharing a lot of the goals that I have and the planning that I had. I could not write everything down because I had to pay for a pad of paper. I had no money. I had no phone. I had no way of calling for anyone. When I was released, I was very, very lucky because I was on the phone with my mom when the guy said my name and pack up your stuff, you're leaving. And I was leaving with no notice, and luckily I was on the phone with my mom, and I said, come get me. And so when I was released, I did have my parents waiting for me. It took me walking around the building all the way once around before I found them. And so I was really scared that I was going to be released and not know where I was going, and I would be stuck downtown with no money, no phone, and wearing my old street clothes that I had, you know, that were already dirty. So it was very traumatizing mentally and emotionally. I was a wreck. I cried myself to sleep most of the time, but I tried to be very quiet because everything echoed and I didn't want everyone hearing me cry. There were some people I did hear crying. There are people who are mentally losing it because there's nothing to do. There are some card games. There was a Bible, and we had to share. And there was daily bread, and I read the whole book of June Daily Bread while I was there. There was a Chinese checkers game, a Monopoly game you could play, but I never played any games. There was a TV, like I said, and we could watch TV. But the people who have been there, you know, for a long period of time, they get, you know, precedence over what we're watching, and majority rules. And I didn't have time to sign up for anything, and I didn't get my public defender because I had been released. And so I did have communications with the guards and with the caseworker, and what I was told I need to do, and what I was told what the public defender had said to me. And so I did get some information that I needed for court purposes, and I did get some a lot of feedback and a lot of answers to questions I've had about what I should be doing by the other inmates who have been through the process before. And I'm so very thankful that even though I had some people who didn't like me, and even though I had some people there who realized I was different and I shouldn't be there, and I had some people there that just were not nice people, and it was very uncomfortable and emotionally draining. It was an experience I will never ever forget. It's an experience that really shows you the corruption in the justice system. It shows you the corruption in the community that you live in. It shows the lack of love and support and reform for helping those who are less fortunate, those who are poor, those who don't have any money. It shows the lack of justice. It shows the lack of caring about human rights. It shows the lack of upholding the Constitution that is in the county I live in. And I think it's really something that I'm going to be using as I'm moving forward with my nonprofit organization that I want to start up coming this fall. I think it's something that I needed to go through, and there was a reason why I was there. I had a lot of people say, you were here for me, because I needed some hope. I needed someone to come in and listen to my story and understand. And I'm taking notes of everything that I had to go through, and all these women and what they're going through as single moms or moms who have significant other. Yeah, those women may have been on drugs. Yeah, they may have committed a crime. Yeah, they may be in jail, but they have no help. They have no education. You go to jail and there's no reform. There's nobody to help these moms out there. And so as I am moving forward in my nonprofit organization, I know what I have to do. I know what people I'm going to have to talk to. I've been in the system. I know now that to fight this battle, I'm going to have to use the legal system against itself to expose the corruption that is there. And it's just not right. It's not, as a person living in the United States of America, this should not be the way things are, and they are this way. And so I'm going to have to meet with a state senator, and I'm going to have to set up an appointment to meet with representatives of our state in order to make this change and help with the corruption of the legal system, to help, get some reform going on and started. And so I'm also able to reconnect with my friend that was in jail with me, and I'm going to be able to help her out, and I'm going to be able to start a ministry, because I've got phone numbers now, and I've got some people who are going to need some help. And so I'm very thankful that I had this experience. I am emotionally, it was draining. I'm not going to lie. Emotionally, it was devastating. And I spent all day Thursday kind of recuperating. I needed sleep like you wouldn't believe. I needed to think. When I got out, I just wanted to cry. When they release you, they make you sit in a cell jail again with the concrete, still in your uniform, for a couple hours before they let you change your clothes, and then they just release you. And so sitting there by myself in a cell, I really just bawled my eyes out because I was so scared. I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't know if my parents were going to be there to pick me up. And I didn't know what was going to happen and why all this happened in the first place. And I kept thinking about how I haven't seen my kid in a week. And I'm thinking about how I'm not going to still be able to see him for a couple more days. And how my ex-husband is the one who sent me to jail. He's the one who wants me to go to jail as a punishment because he's wanting control. And I am thinking about, what does God want? What does God want as a married couple? What does God want as a husband and a wife who has a child together? What does God want as a single mom for me? You know, this is not the life he wants for me. This is not the life he wants for my child, is for his mother to be in jail. He doesn't want this false allegations. He doesn't want this lie. He wants to use me. He wants me to stand up for God. You know, God wants me to stand up for him. He wants me to stand up for what's right. He wants me to stand up for what the Bible says. And he wants me to finish this race very, very strong. You know, one thing I have really, really learned through this process, above all, is you really can tell who is a Christian and who is not a Christian. If you are a true believer in Jesus Christ, you know very well those people in your life who are not following God. Because I should have not been in jail. I should have not been in jail. And I can see those who don't care about your faith. I can see those people who hate you because of your faith, as a matter of fact. I can see those people who will persecute you for Jesus Christ's name's sake, right? His name. He says, you will be persecuted for my name's sake. So, yeah, that's my journey of jail time. I just wanted to share it with you guys. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And humbling at the same time, because I just want to do what's right. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to break a law to keep me out of jail. I'm not going to do it. And, you know, I know what I need to do now. I know what I need to do now. And what I need to do is to follow God's word. You know, what he says. How do you handle circumstances when you're being persecuted? Even if it is by your ex-spouse. What do? How do you handle yourself? And God is wanting me to do what's right. He's wanting me to make changes in my life. And the changes in my life are to speak the name of Jesus in my life even more. Be more open to you all as I'm sharing my journey of doing what's right. You know, standing up for what's best for my family and being that leader that God has commanded me to be, whether my ex-husband's going to be that leader or not. You know, I need to stand up for Christian education for my kids. I need to stand up for doing what's right and not bad-mouthing the other parent. I need to stand up for not lying to my children either. And I need to just definitely keep my household the saying of, for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I need to keep that as my motto for my family as a Christian single mom. And I need to uphold that last name that I have. I need to uphold who I stand for, you know, and I need to stand up for my vows, and I need to stand up for my commitment and my relationship with Jesus Christ. And I need others to see God living in me no matter what I do. And so as a Christian single mom, that's what I'm going to do. So I hope you enjoyed this journey. I just wanted to share it with you. But that's where I've been, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Bye.